गुड इवनिंग भरत.
गुड इवनिंग.
हाउ आर यू?
एकदम बढ़िया.
गुड इवनिंग भरत भाई. भरत भाई गुड इवनिंग.
गुड इवनिंग. गुड इवनिंग. गुड इवनिंग.
भरत जी गुड इवनिंग. बेरिया सर गुड इवनिंग.
दादा प्रणाम.
प्रणाम प्रणाम. गुड इवनिंग.
भाई सेंचुरी क्रॉस किया. गाना किसका चल रहा है?
गुड इवनिंग ऑल.
गुड इवनिंग. गुड इवनिंग.
गुड इवनिंग. आज भरत भाई ये ट्रिपल सेंचुरी तो मारेगा.
नहीं, ट्रिपल सेंचुरी नहीं होएगा, डबल सेंचुरी हो सकता है. भाई ये 2020 है, उसमें भी डबल सेंचुरी.
नमस्कार.
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 ट्रिपल सेंचुरी.
बेरिया साहब नमस्कार.
नमस्कार.
यस विनोद जी नमस्कार.
नमस्कार. नमस्कार.
विजय साहब
हाँ नमस्कार. नमस्कार.
नमस्कार. और भरत भाई.
क्या म्हणता है?
यस हेलो. शिव भगवान. हेलो शिव भगवान जी.
किसका?
Good evening everyone.
Good evening.
How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
Excellent sir. Excellent.
हाँ.
विनोद सर कैसे हैं?
सब फर्स्ट क्लास.
अरे चेतन सर.
कौन जी किधर भाग गए?
चेतन भाई
कैसा है?
हाँ
कैसा है रजनीश?
बस ठीक है. अभी चल रहा है. रिकवरी चालू है.
मेरा
हाँ
आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
नेगेटिव रिपोर्ट आ गई. कभी की आ गई? बहुत पहले आ गई. नवीन भाई हैप्पी एनिवर्सरी.
अरे दावड़ा साहब नमस्कार.
नमस्ते. नमस्ते सर.
यस. सब कुछ ठीक? सेफ एट होम?
यस सर. नॉट एट होम. अभी तो ऑफिस में हूँ.
अच्छा.
हेलो सर.
सर कैसे हो?
बस मजे में. ऑफिस में हो क्या?
भरत भाई ऑफिस. यस सर.
यस.
गुड इवनिंग सर.
ऑफिस में शरद. भरत કેમ છે?
फर्स्ट क्लास. वी आर ऑल वेल.
अरे मीटिंग चालू करो.
ભાઈ કેમ છો?
शिव भगवान जी.
દાવડા સાહેબ. કોનો?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Bharat bhai. Good afternoon, everybody.
ભાઈ.
हेलो.
चेतन भाई नमस्ते.
नमस्ते. नमस्ते.
अरे सचिन सोलापुर से. अरे वाह.
अरे यस. फिर
अभी
सब होशियार लोगों के बीच में थोड़ा ज्वाइन होते तो थोड़ा वैल्यू एडिशन मिलता है ना नॉलेज में.
हाँ 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 सही बात है भाई.
नाभी वो-
कैसा है? बिजू किधर चले गया?
शिव भगवान.
नमस्ते शिव भगवान जी. जय श्री कृष्ण. कैसे हो?
सचिन काय म्हणतोय?
बस फर्स्ट क्लास. अरे सर नमस्कार. काय चाललंय?
नमस्कार. बस मस्त.
येस जोशी साहेब. परवा तुमचा वाढदिवस होता. आपलं बोलणं झालं.
हो.
येस. काय आहे का तुम्ही मुंबईचे कार्यक्रम अटेंड केलं तर जरा बरं वाटतंय हो.
हा आम्हाला तुम्हाला भेटल्याचा आनंद होतो ना.
हो खऱ्या गोष्ट आहे. मागच्या वर्षी सुद्धा ठाण्याचं तुमचं एक्सेलचं केलं, हे केलं, हे नवीन नवीन. बाकी सगळं ऑल वेल ना सगळीकडे?
येस येस.
गुड गुड.
झाला आहे ना तुझा? आता मी तुला लिहून देतो, ते तिकडे तसं चेंज करायचं आहे ते नाव. ठीक है.
अरे शिव भगवान इधर है तू, क्या कर रहा है?
वो रफ प्रिंट ले लेना, उसको रफ में लेना प्रिंट. रफ में एक बाजू प्रिंट लेके आ जा, मैं तेरे को चेंज करके देता हूँ उसमें. ये रहते मेरे पास, अभी तेरा प्रिंट निकाल.
अरे शिव भगवान चाय पिला रहा है, लेट कर रहा है, चालू कर सेमिनार को.
अरे 4:51 है ना भाई. अभी अभी भी 25-30 मेंबर और आने बाकी है. 200 होएगा आज.
ऐसा थोड़ी है, चालू तभी करेगा जब पूरी सीट भर.
नहीं, आपने 4:30 से 5 का टाइम दिया, 5 को ही चालू कर सकते हैं ना. लोग बोलेंगे हमारे आने के पहले चालू कर दिया.
हम लोग
अपन
बेवकूफ.
नहीं बातचीत करो ना यार, क्या तकलीफ. पोको X3 अरे लोग अपने मोबाइल नंबर से एंट्री मार रहे हैं.
लक्ष्मी भाई ऑफिस में मास्क
हाँ लक्ष्मी के भाई
बैठा है ना, मास्क लगा के ऑफिस में.
नहीं थोड़े 2-4 लोग बैठे हैं तो चलो यार, ऐसा कुछ नहीं.
अरे तो शक्ल तो दिखे भाई, कैसा दिख रहा है लक्ष्मी भाई?
पॉजिटिव से निकले अभी यार, नेगेटिव हुए हैं.
अभी लक्ष्मीकांत भाई प्लाज्मा डोनेशन के लिए तैयार है.
यस यस एनी टाइम.
ऐसे मेरा बेटा भी तैयार है, उसको भी देना है प्लाज्मा.
But plasma is again, I don't know whether it's really effective to cure the patients.
नहीं कभी
अलग
कभार
अलग
वो
व्यूज
तो-
आ रहे हैं, अलग अलग ओपिनियंस है.
हाँ वो तो कंफ्यूजन है ही. लोग तो रेमडेसिविर भी बोल रहे हैं कि क्या.
हाँ
मैं उसको जो रफ मेरे को
राइट
बना
राइट.
उसको जो रफ बना के देगा ना, मैं उसमें उस 2-3 क्लोज जो चेंज करता हूँ लीव लाइसेंस का. बराबर. एक तो अभी 80,000 की है उसमें.
आशावाजी
बोलिए.
जिनको भी अभी प्लाज्मा देना है ना,
हम्म
तो उनके अगर नाम अपने पास, अगर नाम और उनका फोन नंबर और ब्लड ग्रुप वो अगर होगा, तो अभी वामनराव रक्तपेढ़ी में प्लाज्मा का मशीन चालू हो गया है. तो they can donate there whenever the need is.
यस.
तो ये अपने पास अगर डाटाबेस होगा, तो we can call the person for the plasma donation. और अपने वो वामनराव में अभी चालू हो गया है.
हाँ नहीं मैसेज फ्लोट करेंगे.
यस यस. सो अपना इंस्टीट्यूट और वामनराव रक्तपेढ़ी के इसमें से ऐसे कर सकते हैं वो.
हाँ बामन राव रक्त. ऐसे तो ऑफर उससे भी आया था, अर्पण ब्लड बैंक से भी, डॉक्टर ताते. बट अपन करेंगे बामन राव एक बार. स्वप्निल इज वर्किंग ऑन दैट. क्या है अभी वो लॉक ये है ना, ब्लड डोनेशन के लिए लोग क्या है कि जाना नहीं चाहते. पीपल आर बिट स्कैर्ड.
यस यस यस.
नहीं तो अपने को ब्लड डोनेशन ड्राइव करना है. एक ईस्ट में, थाना ईस्ट में एक स्कूल है, उसका हॉल है 5,000 स्क्वायर फीट का. दे आर रेडी टू प्रोवाइड अस फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट और ब्लड डोनेशन.
कल
अभी
कल आप
अपने
लोग विकास कॉम्प्लेक्स में ब्लड डोनेशन कर रहे हैं, किसको आना हो तो आ सकता है.
नहीं, अपने को क्या है, स्पेसिफिकली थोड़ा फैटर्निटी का ध्यान रख के करना पड़ेगा ना. अपना ब्लड अपने ही लोगों
नहीं,
को
मैं
करना
बोला
है तो
कल-
ज्यादा अच्छा.
अरे भाई
विकास कॉम्प्लेक्स में रखा है हम लोगों ने कल ब्लड डोनेशन. किसको आना हो तो आ सकता है कल. विकास कॉम्प्लेक्स सुबह 9 से 1 बजे.
अच्छा,
सीए का ब्लड सीओ को मिला तो ज्यादा और फायदा है.
संडे मॉर्निंग 9 से
नॉलेज भी पास
विकास कॉम्प्लेक्स. संडे मॉर्निंग 9 से 1 विकास कॉम्प्लेक्स में आ सकते हैं ब्लड डोनेशन किसको करना हो.
चलो ठीक है.
अरे शिव भगवान,
हाँ,
अरे मुझे एक बोलो, इट्स लोकल फॉर वोकल और वोकल फॉर लोकल.
इट्स वोकल फॉर लोकल.
हाँ.
वोकल फॉर लोकल स्पीकर.
यस, क्योंकि सब जगह अलग अलग लोग लिख रहे हैं.
नहीं, अपना मैसेज में परफेक्ट लिखा हुआ है, वोकल फॉर लोकल लिखा हुआ है.
अरे राहुल,
So we'll start in next 5 minutes at 5 sharp.
आप 5 को करेंगे स्टार्ट अपन.
Are you expecting Manish bhai to come in today?
लक्ष्मी कैसा है?
स्वप्निल,
going on.
मनीष भाई आएंगे 5-10 तक आएंगे, मैं बात करता हूँ.
एकदम बढ़िया सर. सर मतलब वो आएंगे तो we will start with the program at least, or else ask him, request him to come at 5 now.
हरी बाबू कैसा है? ओ हरी बाबू,
Hello Vijay, how are you?
आई एम फाइन, मजे में.
और कैसे साहब?
बस बढ़िया. तबियत कैसा है? घर पे
Everything
बैठे?
is fine.
या घर पे बैठे?
So nice to see you.
थैंक यू. ले स्पीकर का
स्वप्निल?
स्क्रीन चालू हो गया बने.
स्वप्निल,
Yes sir, yes, it's visible.
हाँ, स्वप्निल, मनीष गाडिया सर आएंगे 5 को. उनका मैसेज आया है.
Fair enough.
यस यस.
You want me to stop sharing the screen?
Yes sir. Do you want to slide it ahead? Do you want to check it that way? Because it's clearly visible. I just wanted to be sure so that
एक second,
you don't face
एक
any
second.
inconvenience. Wonderful sir, it's working fine. Perfect sir.
Okay, you want me to stop sharing right now?
Anything that suits to you sir. Anything that suits to you.
हाँ, 5-10 मिनट बाद में
भारत
जब
आइसक्रीम
चालू होगा
लेवा दे
तब
फक्त.
शेयर कर लेना.
Okay.
भारत
Thank
आइसक्रीम
you
लेवा
sir.
दे.
यस.
I leave it or I close it?
नहीं, ठीक है, शेयर मत कर अभी, बाद में करना जब तेरा चालू होए तो.
ठीक है, ये तो लेक्चर फर्स्ट स्क्रीन फर्स्ट स्लाइड चाहिए तो रहने देता हूँ, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं.
फर्स्ट स्लाइड रहने दे. हाँ,
सर वी आर क्लोज टू 150. भरत भाई,
बोल विजय, बोल.
राहुल गरत काय म्हणतायत?
कुठे दिसतात नाही राहुल घरात.
तुम्ही सगळे कसे आहात?
हा काय, आम्ही मस्त. तू कसा आहेस?
हो
राहुल
सर.
घरात घरी बसलाय.
राहुल
आज ऑफिस आहे.
ऑफिस आहे, ऑफिस. राहुल प्लाझ्मा, राहुल प्लाझ्मा डोनेशन झाला का?
नाही सर, प्लाझ्मा डोनेशन नाही झालेलं आहे.
आता ते ब्लड ग्रुप शेअर कर बाबा.
हो पॉझिटिव्ह.
तेरा पॉजिटिव भी रहेगा, बी पॉजिटिव वाला आदमी.
ओ पॉझिटिव्ह.
ओ पॉजिटिव बट यू आर
Universal.
यस.
गुड टू सी यू ऑल ऑफ यू आफ्टर लॉन्ग टाइम.
यस. बाकी घर पे सब
हाँ सर, सब
ऑल वेल?
यस.
ओके,
गॉड ग्रेस ऑल आर वेल.
यस.
राहुल, विकनेस बराच आहे ना?
हाँ सर.
हा, त्या आवाजावरून जाणवतोय तुझ्या. कुठे गेला होता?
पॉझिटिव्हिटी आता पॉझिटिव्हिटी ठेवली. नो 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 लुकिंग बॅक.
कोरोना गेला
पॉझिटिव्हिटी ठेवू नको रे बाबा, पॉझिटिव्हचा चेक कर हा सगळं.
बॅड साइड ऑफ बिंग पॉझिटिव्ह.
Yes, being positive. Being positive but no negative.
ऐसा नहीं, बी नेगेटिव पॉजिटिवली, ऐसा बोलने का.
हाँ, yes, exactly. Right, विजय सर.
विजय राइट ही रहता है.
Yes, yes. विजय is always right.
और ही राहुल सर.
Fine. कैसे हो सर आप?
बस बढ़िया, ठीक है.
अच्छा लगा. बहुत मैंने बात देख रहे सब लोग को.
सीरियसली.
सुरेंद्र भाई, आपको मेरा व्हाट्सएप मैसेज मिल गया ना भरत सर का? ओके ओके.
चेयरमैन सर 50 लोग जोड़ो यार. बाकी
158 है, हो जाएंगे, 200 हो जाएंगे.
158 में अपना स्टाफ और 3 जन डुप्लीकेट है, वो कट कर. 145 है.
नहीं, तीन जन कट करेंगे तो 155 है. दीपक गोयल और भी कोई ज्वाइन करना चाहता है?
और स्टाफ को कट कर. 145 है. हिसाब बोल, मैं बताता हूँ यार. ये जूम का आंकड़ा निकालने में मैं एक्सपर्ट हूँ.
सर विजय सर, आप कौन से भी आंकड़े निकाल सकते हो.
राहुल ट्रेनिंग ही वो लिया है, अभी क्या करे आंकड़े.
एग्जैक्टली. हम लोग ने ऑलरेडी एक ट्रेनिंग ले लिया आपका.
हो गया अभी, बस
अभी परसों है दूसरा.
यस सर, मैं ही हूँ.
राहुल तब्येत कशी आहे आता?
हो सर, हो बाबा, व्यवस्थित आहे.
व्यवस्थित ना एकदम?
हो, व्यवस्थित नाही, बट व्यवस्थितच बोलायचं आता.
विकनेस कमी आला?
हा आहे, वीकनेस आहे, बट ठीक आहे, चालून जाते, आता ऍडजस्ट होते. तुम्ही सगळे कसे आहात?
एकदम फर्स्ट क्लास.
राहुल, आणखीन घरी कोणाकोणाला झाला होता रे? म्यूट काढ.
ऑल फॅमिली. आणि सगळ्यांना ऍडमिटेड होतं.
अरे बाप रे.
पुन्हा एकच मिनिट, बस सेशन चालू केलं. नाही,
स्वप्नील, 1 मिनिट, ओनली 1 मिनिट.
सर सगळ्यांनी काळजी घ्या, बिकॉज दिस इज टेरिफिक. टेरिफिक मीन्स लिटरली इट डिडंट गिव्ह मी it gave me rather 3 days time for 50% infection. So it is terrific एकदम.
लंग्स कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो गया ना, फिर थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है.
Literally two CTs I in hospital were done for me by taking on wheelchair. So you can imagine the weakness.
नहीं, लोग बोल भी नहीं पाते, चलना फिरना तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट दूर की बात है.
I was not able
बोलने को भी तकलीफ हो जाती है.
I was not able to speak. I was not attending any calls for say 4-5 days something or so. बात करने
तो बहुत खतरनाक है, एकदम बहुत फास्ट स्पीड था एकदम.
हाँ एकदम
फिर इसका वो एक साइड इफेक्ट भी म्यूकोरमाइसिस करके जो है.
Yes, exactly. वो अभी नया आ रहा है.
बहुत
नया आ रहा है. नया वो दिख रहा है अभी.
काम है.
Yes, yes.
आज अपने वो थाने में वो डॉक्टर आशीष भूमकर ही इज टेकिंग सम सेमिनार along with where PM is the keynote speaker.
Okay.
It is directly affecting the brain. Mucormycosis fungus create कर रहा है.
Okay.
That is mostly to patients who are on diabetic and on ventilator.
Diabetic patients should precisely take more care.
Yeah, and you should try not to go into ventilator diabetic.
And उनके medicines भी बहुत expensive है. And they are started already. I think so उसका black marketing start भी हो गया है.
अरे बस उसकी कंपनी के शेयर्स के भाव 200 क्रॉस कर गए 100 से 3 दिन में. गुफित बाय साइंस.
सर ये सब भी आप ग्रुप पे डाला करो ना, फॉलो आपने मेंबरशिप नंबर डालो, ये डालो, वो डालो, तो ये भी डाल देते हमारे लिए। हम 150 पे से 200 चले जाते।
मनीष गाड़िया सर।
ओके,
वेलकम मनीष सर।
वेलकम मनीष भाई।
वेलकम सर।
Swapnil, we can start now.
Sure, sir.
Requesting everybody to keep yourself under mute mode so that there is no disturbance whoever is speaking.
I'll do one thing. I'll mute here from everyone, and then as and when we are speaking, we can just unmute ourselves.
Okay, okay, you can do that.
Good evening, everyone. I'm CA Swapnil Kulte, the Secretary at Thane Branch, and I welcome you all to this wonderful set of seminar called as Vocal for Local. This was our chairman, Shri CSU Bhagwan Asawa's initiative, who thought that instead of having speakers from across India, why not encourage our very own local speakers and help them to come forward and spread their knowledge with us. Today, as a start of these, the second series of this entire seminar, we have with us the wonderful speaker and a very renowned CA from the Thane city, CA Bharat Sachdev, who would be dealing with the topic of GST, search and seizure. So, before moving ahead, we also have with us the WRC chairman with us, Manish Bhai, and I acknowledge his presence over here. And to give a kickstart to this event, I now welcome CSU Bhagwan Asawa to speak a few words.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. Dear friends, a very warm welcome to all of you. I really hope you and your loved ones are in good health. I really appreciate that you have taken the time out for this session on a weekday and amid the chaos of this pandemic. We, Team Thane Branch, continuously working for you via series of seminars and through various socio-economic activities such as vaccination drive, tiffin service, medication, hospitalization. We have created a COVID task force to help you all. Coming to the today's seminar, first day of Vocal for Local Speaker Series. Idea behind this is to promote local speaker of different domain knowledge. This will not only help you for knowledge gaining, but will have better networking since speaker is from our area only. We'll be having, I want to highlight certain future programs. We'll be having only women member seminar coming 20th May. This will be on new avenues for women CA in working from home scenario. Details of the seminar will be shared to you shortly. There are many more to come. We will have series 3, Vocal for Local Speaker series 3 will be 20th to 30th of this month. Let's take benefit of less pressure and lockdown, which enable you to sharpen and enhance your knowledge, but complete your mandatory CP requirements too. In today's session, we have invited our very own and my dear friend, CA Bharat Sachdev, and appreciate that Bharat Sachdev have made time from your busy schedule for all of us. Friends, I encourage you to freely ask any question you may have through chat box only. Let's make this session engaging and helpful. Over to you, Swapnil.
Now, without any further ado, I now request CA Chetan Chadwa to kindly give a brief introduction of our WRC chairman and welcome CA Chetan, sir, please.
Welcome, Manish Bhai. Thank you, Manish sir, for taking out your time, precious time from the busy studio. Manish Bhai is the chairman of our vibrant WRC with 35 branches and around 64 study circles. He's leading from the front, all the branches, study circles. Am I audible?
Chetan, I think introduction is not required. We can directly start, and it is more important to listen to Bharat Sachdeva, the very important topic.
No formalities.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, but we will request you to share your words of wisdom with us, sir.
Yes, Manish Bhai.
Yeah. Thank you very much. First of all, I thank Thane Branch, especially Chairman Shri Bhagwan Asawaji, for inviting me here to share my thought with all of you. Before going further, I wish you all a happy Akshaya Tritiya, the auspicious day to start any new thing in Indian tradition. The birthday of Lord Parshuramji, the 6th edition of, I should say, Vishnu Bhagwan. And I also say Eid Mubarak to all my friends. This is very auspicious day as far as Hindus are concerned, Muslims are concerned. So it's really a great thing. And very good scheme or theme the chairman has started in Thane is that vocal for local. At Institute, we should always promote a local or new speaker. And the topic also chosen is really a very good topic, that is restriction, search, seizure under GST, which is the need of the hour. Very good topic, I should say. Lot of confusions are there, and department is also asking various things, threatening also, I will arrest you and all that things. The power, even if they do not have, they will show you that they have that power. So definitely, I think Bharat Sachdeva ji is in great detail going to discuss all these things. I will share few of the initiative of the WIRC here in this platform. First of all, I congratulate all the members of Thane branch that today, this year, WIRC is celebrating 70th year of its foundation. So this year is also a great year for all of us. And I say that we are going through a rough phase. The situation outside are not so good. So I request all of you to take care of yourself. ICI has come out with a scheme of CABF, where a chartered accountant benevolent fund, those who are undergoing a hospitalization and incurring some expenditure and not able to get from the Mediclaim, up to 1.5 lakh they can claim from the institute while filing a CABF form. I am not going into detailing of CABF form. You can go to the website of CABF. CABF form on the site and take the benefit. At the same time, there are many members who are capable enough to even contribute some money. I request everyone to keep their mic on mute. Yeah. So those who are capable enough, I request humbly with my folded hand that kindly contribute some money to CABF fund so that we can give that money to the needy professional colleagues. Even if a contribution of 1,000 is more than enough, some contribution is needed. So with this humble, I request Thane branch, especially Chairman Shiv Bhagwan ji, to take this agenda and try to get more and more contribution for our members. At WIRC, we started with various series. First is WOW series, where the woman speaker is going to speak on every second Wednesday of the month. We have also started Techies series, where on third Thursday of the month, we are discuss about technology. In this month, we are going to start another series, that is CEO Speak, a journey from articleship or CA to CEO. This is also a great initiative what we are starting, where a chartered accountant can learn from the life experience of a person who have reached to CEO level, that a chartered accountant, the topmost post in an industry is not only CFO, he can become CEO also. This year in newsletter, we have started with a column of CA achievements. So any CA who have achieved the anything great in his life, you can share that with WIRC. We will publish that in the newsletter. Apart from that, We will also started a SEBI, RBI and M&A column in the newsletter. Chairman Shri Bhagwanji has said about the women work from home, about something about that. So for that also WIRC started a Khoj initiative where a woman who want to work for part-time basis, work from home or on assignment basis can log on to the site and take the benefit of the same. So there are various other initiatives. You can go to the website of WIRC. It's really a great to interact with you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shri Bhagwanji.
Thank you so much, Manisha. Thank you for your kind words and thank you for your time. Without any further ado, I request the past chairman, CA Suren Thakur Desai, to give the formal introduction of our today's speaker, and then we'll continue from the event from there on.
Thank you, Swapnil. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I would like to congratulate our current chairman, Shiv Bhagwanji Asawa, for successfully arranging these webinars, Vocal for Local Series 2. Today's speaker is Bharatji Sachdev, and the topic is inspection, search and seizure under GST. This is just a formal introduction because everybody knows Bharatji Sachdev very well. CA Bharat Sachdevji, practicing chartered accountant for last 23 years in the field of direct and indirect taxes. He is the current president of Tax Practitioners Association in Thane and special invitee to the National Executive Committee of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners. He has addressed various forums on issues in direct taxes at national levels on many occasions. So, Bharat Sachdevji, I am very much thankful to you that today you are delivering the lecture to enlighten us on this topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, friends. It's a pleasure to speak from my office at my company to my friends across the screen. Would have preferred more if you would have a chance to meet one-to-one and have a discussion on this topic. Thanks to Thane branch for giving me an opportunity to speak today on this topic, and thanks Manish Bhai for being present here. So friends, today's topic we are going to see on inspection, search and seizures. What we will do is we will touch upon important sections and rules. As Manish Bhai laid the stone, stating that this is a very important subject and you all are aware. Lockdown खत्म हो जाने दो, उसके बाद जो चालू होगा, जिन्होंने रिटर्न्स नहीं भरा है, जिन्होंने रिटर्न्स गलत भरा है, जिन्होंने सेट ऑफ ले लिया है, जो नहीं था सेट ऑफ ले लिया, तो ये सब सेक्शंस चालू हो जाएंगे. So today we will be covering section 67 to 72 as per chapter 14. Read with rule 139 to 141. We'll also cover section 73 to 84, which is demand and recovery. And we'll touch upon offenses and penalties as per section 122 to 138. Don't go much into the section names which I'm calling to. What you have to understand is that there are these sections which are in place, which can put us to trouble in the future, and the government machinery has enough power to take you to task if they wish. So let us understand a basic concept that why are these sections and rules needed. So friends, in any tax administration, the provisions of inspection and search, seizures and arrest are provided. And the basic intent to provide these rules are to protect the honest as tax evaders by get undue advantage. I think so. We'll have to mute people.
Bharat, now you can continue. We have muted everyone.
Thank you. Okay. So this, the intent of the provision, these provisions is to act as a deterrent to tax evaders. However, government and the department should also make use of these sections and rules and these provisions as a last resort only and under extreme and unavoidable circumstances. अगर ये सबको अगर आप सीजन अरेस्ट करते जाओगे तो havoc. So the main purpose of today of discussing this session is that we are having this meeting to discuss that if there is any tax evasion, there is any circular transaction, or if there is any revenue loss to GST, the government is going to touch upon. So reasons which can instigate these sections. So one would be information. It is bogus billing. By bogus billing means invoices are provided actual supply and or without actual input available with the person who is providing the bill. It is simply provision of the bill. There is no actual transaction which happens. Please, circular billing. We all know what is circular billing. A billing B, B to C, B bills to D, and D again bills it to A. So the entire transaction from where it starts, it reaches there again. Then there is a classification which can happen. Excess ITC is taken or claimed when actually it is not there. For example, we face normally GSTR2A mismatch. Wrong refunds or fraud refunds, there are nearly 1,300 exporters, documented exporters with the department today, who have claimed excess refunds and are absconding. It's a fact. Then there is something known as suppression, that is removing cash turnover from the system and paying on the check amount. आज के दिन लास्ट ये एक साल के ये लास्ट एक कुछ एप्लीकेबल नहीं हो रहा है क्योंकि टर्नओवर ही नहीं है, कैश बोलो चेक बोलो, बट प्रोविजंस आर देयर बिकॉज जीएसटी इज कमिंग टू द 4th year in completion in which 3 years लोगों ने बहुत सारी मिसचिफ की है. ओनली बिलिंग मीन्स किसी का कैश सेल्स है और उसने बुक्स में दिखाया नहीं है और बाद में उनको बुक्स में डालना है, तो सेल्स पड़ा है, किसी को बिल चाहिए तो मैं उसको दे देता हूं एंड आई एम गिविंग यू बोगस बिलिंग विदाउट एक्चुअली सप्लाई. मेरा सप्लाई हुआ है बट दैट सप्लाई इंस्टेड ऑफ सप्लाइंग इट टू ए, आई हैव नॉट शोन द सप्लाई टू ए बट आई एम सेलिंग द बिल टू बी. एंड देन देयर इज समथिंग नोन एज ब्रेक इन चेन where ITC is broken in between before reaching the end user. So the whole transaction of ITC was that it has to, when there is a B2B sale, B2B transactions are totally accounted for, और last में जब B2C में जा रहा है, that is the time the chain gets completed. But many cases it gets completed before that because somebody would, remove the bill and break the chain. So these are the reasons where any of these actions can be instigated by the department. So now section 67(1), let us take this into view. Power of inspection. So the Bare Act leads commissioner or an officer in higher rank can give such authorization only if he has reasons to believe. Reasons, very important word. We'll discuss it in the next slide. If he has the reasons to believe that a taxable person has suppressed any transaction relating to the following: suppressed transaction of supply of goods or services, suppressed stocks of goods in hand. That means the stock has not been properly accounted for or valued for. claimed excess input tax credit more than what is eligible and allowable or available, contravene any provision of the act or rules with an intention to evade payment of tax. So this includes any person engaged in transportation of goods, has kept goods which are escape payment of tax, or has kept his accounts of or goods in a manner that is likely to evade tax, to cause evasion of tax. So an owner or operator of warehouse or a godown is also covered under this if he has kept any goods which he is aware is kept there with the intent to avoid payment of tax. Right? So here is reasons to believe. So what do you mean by reasons to believe? As we said, that this reasons to believe is an important word. What do you mean by it? So when we say there is a reason to believe, means a person is said to have reasons to believe a thing if he has sufficient cause to believe that thing, but not otherwise. This is defined as per section 26 of the Indian Evidence Act. So reasons to believe means having knowledge of facts, although it does not mean that you should have a direct knowledge. मुझे one-to-one information की गरज नहीं है, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि यह है. That would make any reasonable person knowing the same facts to reasonably conclude the same thing. That is why when we get the statistics notice and other things, where the system reasonably believes that there is something going wrong. So, reason to believe is a determination based on intelligent examination with evaluation. So, I examine something, and based on my examination, I evaluate something and I reach at some solution. This ought to have been done. It is different from purely subjective consideration. That is an opinion. It is based on facts rather than interpretation of the facts. So here it is written that the Joint Commissioner may authorize in writing any officer of the central tax to carry inspection at the place of business by issuing authorization form 1. So friends, is it necessary to record the reasons to believe in writing before issuing the order for inspection or seizure? A very important point to understand. The Joint Commissioner will authorize, or a Joint Commissioner equivalent person will authorize the officer in writing. But is it necessary to record the reasons in writing? So let us understand that the GST Act does not mention recording of the reasons to believe in fact. But the Finance Act 2017 amended section 132(1) and 1A of the Income Tax Act, retrospectively stating that the reason to believe shall not be disclosed to any person or any authority or any appellate tribunal. So if somebody has a reason to believe, you cannot expect that you will be provided that on what basis I am coming to you. Am I clear till now? Okay. Let us go person. What does a proper officer, as the section started? The proper officer means a Joint Commissioner. So a person not below the rank of Joint Commissioner who authorizes in form GS INS 1 any other officer subordinate to conduct, inspect, or search, or as the case may be, seize goods, documents, books, or any things which are liable. So are we clear in this? So now there is something known as inspection. So let us understand what is the difference between in search and inspection and search. So what does a search means? A search involves an attempt to find something. Search in the legal parlance is an action of a government official to go and look through or examine carefully person, object in order to find something concealed or to discover an evidence of crime. A search can be done only under a proper valid authority, but the main important point is to find something unknown, which is concealed or discover evidence of a crime. However, inspection on the is an act of examining something. So suppose there is something which we have declared. The government officer would like to recheck whether what we are stating is right. So it will corroborate with maybe what we have submitted. So that is inspection. So a search, inspection, and from inspecting, maybe it reaches to search. So an inspection may be verification on a superficial level, whereas search is an in-depth at identifying the unknown. Search has got a very deep meaning, and inspection, you touching upon the things and verifying if in earlier times under VAT we had कि भाई तुमने C-form issue किया है, C-form दिया हुआ है, तो C-form verify कर दिया, inspect हो गया, verify हो गया, खत्म हो गया. Now whether that C-form is original, it is fraud, it is fabricated, उसके लिए पूरा search होगा. Clear? So pursuant to inspection under section 67(1), a proper officer not below the rank of a commissioner has reasons to believe. We have already checked what is reasons to believe. Where any goods liable to confiscation or documents or books or things are secreted in any place, he shall make an order of such seizure. In form INS 02. Such documents, books or things, he himself can also carry out this operation. So it's a matter of early. But there is another thing in this, that irrelevant documents will be returned back within 30 days from the date of issue of this notice. It means that the authorities have 30 days time to decide what is relevant, what is irrelevant, what is required, what is not required. 14 of 2017, dated 1st July 2017, gives the power to the Director General of GST Intelligence, who are appointed as central tax officers and have been conferred with all India jurisdiction. That is why center has got more powers in search and seizures, and they carry out more such operations than the state. So proper officer or an authorized officer may entrust upon the owner of custodian of goods. So what happens at the time of search, the officer can entrust upon the owner to keep the things for safekeeping and issue a prohibition order under INS 03. So what is this? There are some things which I would like not to carry with me. I'd like to keep it there under the same premises or in the same offices of the dealer. Then I have a power under 67(3) and 4, where by issuing an INS 03 notice, I can do that. So even the definition of seizure has not been specifically defined in GST. Lexicon dictionary says seizure is defined as the act of taking possession of the property by an officer under a legal process. It generally implies that taking possession forcibly, contrary to the wishes of the owner of the property, or who has the possession and who was unwilling to part with the possession. During such inspection, if any goods which are liable for confiscation under the Act are found or any document books are found which may be useful for the department in the proceedings for demand of tax, the officers conducting the inspection could search and seize such goods and documents. So they have got a power to search and seize these documents. So what are the rights of the supplier in these cases? So as a supplier, you can take a copy of extract of documents officer, copies of invoices or any documents records, except those which the officers think is not allowable to be given because it can affect the investigation. Diary, rough record which was created, or cite actual record that is kept secret by officer for comparing with the books of account. So there is some piece of papers, handwritten notes or invoices issued with value written in hand. There are some formats which are seized by the officers, and that is different than actual. Then the officers have a right to give you the details of the same. And those papers will be used when they are doing their assessment. So the goods so seized shall be released on a provisional basis upon execution of a bond by furnishing security in the manner of and quantum prescribed. So we'll see what is this bond. So bond will be for the value of goods and it will be issued in form INS 04, whereas security is to be in the form of bank guarantee, which is equivalent to the amount of applicable tax, interest and penalty payable. We'll discuss the penalty payable in the future slides. And any such search and seizure will attract the provision of CRPC of 1973, wherein since the CRPC is applicable, there is a chance that the commissioner will fit in the role of the magistrate and the actions as per law can be taken then. So we understood that the goods have been confiscated, seized. Now, when the seized goods have to be returned, a notice has to be issued within 6 months. So the time for available to the officer is 6 months. In 6 months, if no notice issued, the goods have to be taken back. If no notice issued within a period of 6 months, then all such goods shall be returned. However, this period of 6 months can be extended for another 6 months on a sufficient cause. Now, if the goods are seized, are perishable or hazardous in nature, the said goods can still be released if the owner of the goods pays an amount equivalent to the value price of such goods or the amount of tax, interest and penalty that it may become payable. On submission of the proof of payment, an order of release under INS 05 form and the goods will be released. Now, there is a very interesting case law, Singhi Buildtech Private Limited versus Additional Commissioner of 2019, Karnataka, where more than 2 businesses were promoted by the same directors belonging to the same family in the same premises. The stand taken by the company was that the section 67(4) does not prevent sealing of the premises as the business is going on. So, एक company में search हुआ, so they went to the court stating that you cannot seal the premises because there is another company also in that premises whose business will get hampered. So you cannot seal it. The revenue sealed the premises for one of the companies where they had carried out search action. The tally software stopped functioning and the revenue could not get details and hence sealed the premises. So what happened? The premises in which belonged to the searched company, the server was lying on the other side. So when they closed only this, the other company, the tally got closed. So court held that the premises of the SSC company should be unsealed, desealed in the presence of SSC or any convenient date, subject to the SSC cooperating for inspection, search of the computer and other records available at the premises, and the SSC should cooperate for inspection and search premises. So court said that if it can happen that you do not have to seal it and you can get the assessment done, then it should be done by opening and sitting together and closing it. There's another interesting case of Napin Impex Private Limited versus the Commissioner, DGST 2018, GSTL 578 Delhi. The petitioner said that the premises were visited by the revenue authorities on 29th August 2018, when the DGST officials directed production of the books of account and other documents. Since the petitioner was not in possession of those, it sought 24 hours time. So on 29th August, the petitioner sought 24 hours time for the same. Apparently, a temporary sealing of the premises were ordered. On the next day, the premises were completely sealed. So then the court again said that you cannot seal it and cannot stop the person from doing a business. So these two are cases where we understand that the powers are huge and you will have to go a long way to curb them, to help them and to, get it under control. Further to that, they have a power to arrest. So now what is the power to arrest? The term arrest has not been defined in the GST Act. However, as per judicial pronouncements, it denotes taking into custody of a person some lawful command or authority. In other words, a person is said to be arrested when he is taken and restrained of his liberty by power or color of lawful warrant. Arrest can be carried out only when the person is accused of an offense specified for this purpose. So your offenses have been defined. We'll be looking into this 132(1) ABCD in the future, in the next slides. Which are these clauses which attract, for which arrest can happen? Whenever the commissioner has a reason to believe, here again the word comes reason to believe, that any person has committed any offense, he can authorize any other officer subordinate to him to arrest such a person. Various offenses committed in the connection with evasion of tax are also punishable with imprisonment, for which purpose the offender has to be prosecuted before appropriate court. The nature of offenses we'll discuss in this slide. So what are the offenses covered under 132(1) A, B, C, and D? So the offenses are: if an officer finds that you have supplied material without an invoice, he has got a power to arrest you. He has issued invoice, that means there is no supply but only invoices. Availed wrongful ITC, that means there you are not eligible, the ITC is not available and you are taken. And fourth, collect taxes but not paid within 3 months. So if you have collected tax, your invoices, the moment you issue invoices means you have collected tax. So if you have collected tax and not paid for more than 3 months, you are liable or you can be placed under arrest also. That is what the section says. So what are the types of punishments which are applicable when the arrest? So when there is any arrest which happens, the punishment can be either cognizable and non-bailable, or non-cognizable and bailable. So what is a bailable offense? A bailable offense means an offense which is shown as bailable in the first schedule or which is made bailable by any other law for the time force. And non-bailable offense means any other offenses other than bailable offense. Means, in simple words, somewhere where bail is available and other cases bail is not available. What is a cognizable offense? A cognizable offense means an offense for which a cognizable case means a case in which a police officer may, in accordance with the first schedule or under any law for the time being in force, arrest without a warrant. And a non-cognizable offense means an offense for which a non-cognizable case means a case in which a police officer has no authority to arrest without a warrant. So if you see in the first case, tax evasion is above 5 crores. It is cognizable. So you don't need a warrant. You are arrested and it is non-bailable. In case of the second chance where there is a non-cognizable and bailable, tax evasion between 2 to 5 crores, it is non-cognizable and bailable. But if it is a repeated offender and the repeated offender in total is below 5 crores, you are still in non-cognizable and bailable. So let us see these offenses. Where a tax evasion is 5 crore and above, the punishment prescribed as per the statute is 5 years imprisonment and a fine. Where tax evasion is 2 crores to 5 crores, the punishment prescribed is 3 years imprisonment and a fine. Tax evasion between 1 crore to 2 crores, it is 1 year imprisonment and a fine. Offenses under 132(1) FGJ, which we'll cover later on, the punishment is 6 months imprisonment or fine or both. Minimum imprisonment for offenses under 132(1) and 132(2) is not. So once you are covered under this act, once you are found guilty of offenses under 132(1) and 132(2), minimum punishment is 6 months arrest. Repeated offense, 5 years imprisonment and fine. So there are such drastic actions which the government and the department has the power, and don't be surprised, once the corona crisis and the lockdown crisis is over, we'll be having a lot of such cases. And at that time, knowing your case and knowing your powers and the power which the officer has would be helpful to you. Summons. So, power to summon and produce evidence and produce the documents. So, a proper officer under this act shall have a power to summon any person whose attendance he considers necessary either to give evidence or to produce a document or any other thing in an inquiry in the same manner as provided in the case of civil code under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908. Every such inquiry referred to in subsection 1 shall be deemed to be a judicial proceeding within the meaning of section 193 and 220 of the Indian Penal Code Act. So, any person, so this is something, किसी और की inquiry है और मेरे को notice आई, so it is as good as a summons and I have to be present there, and there are powers which are available. Who are exempted? Exempt for women who according to customs compelled to appear in public shall be exempt. Oh, it's a difficult, according to who cannot be compelled to appear in public is a very dicey thing. We don't know. And exempt the President of India, Vice President, etc. from appearing in court. So they are expecting that someday somebody may create a mistake, send the summons to the President of India also. So till the time the person is the President or Vice President or other things, he is exempt for appearing. So they are already inbuilt in the act. So summons, so that means don't ignore the summons. When there is a summons, see to it that we answer it, or if you want a date, inform it, we have a word, we get it sorted. Just don't simply sleep over it or ignore it, right? Section 17, access to business premises. So during the course of an inquiry under this act, the officer is empowered to have an access to any business premises which may be required for the purpose of such inquiry. During such access, the officer has right to inspect books of accounts, documents, computers, computer program and software, whether installed or otherwise. Why is the word written whether installed or otherwise? Because sometimes when the person comes in, you just uninstall the software or other things as may be required and available at such place. To carry on the verification or audit for the benefit of revenue. So the person in charge of the visiting premises must make available the following: records maintained by a person, trial balance, statement of annual affairs audited or unaudited, cost audit reports if any under section 148 of the Companies Act, income tax audit report under 44AB or other acts, or any other relevant record which the officer asks for, called for, has to be given. One thing, let us not try to be smart or the officers who have come to our premises. They have certain information. When a person is coming to your premises, they have certain information which may be correct or wrong, but your manner or behavior or wrong statement may prove to be harmful to you. So it is our duty to allow them to come and cooperate with them when they are there. It is better for us to come clean-handed in front of the authorities and not to hide anything, because their intention of inspection is to make law-abiding and not to harm you. That is the intent. You have to take care. As per the registration certificate, there is always an person. If you see our GST numbers, we always have an authorized person mentioned in it on the certificate. So the statements of that person should only be given. But the officer has full right to summon any other person who they feel deemed fit to or required. Officers have full power to access any place of business, records, property, computers. Do not try to stop them. They have got enough powers in that. So this is one slide which has come in our institute guidance note, a very beautiful slide which sums up the entire section 67 to 71. Very, very beautiful slide. If you see that, it helps you to understand. I'm having a trouble because okay. So we'll record in writing the reasons to believe that any person who has kept goods or books, whatever slides we covered earlier has been kept here in a precise manner. Inspection of places and taxable as well as any person under section 67. Then 67 के अंदर अगर जाता है तो 67(2) में क्या कर सकता है? Then from here, if you can directly go to section 71 also. So this slide is a very useful slide to understand all the branches of the whole thing. So let us take demand and recovery. So recovery is covered under section 73 to 84. So the demand raised by department has two major criteria. And remember, all provisions provided in the Act have only these two criteria. One, demand arises due to natural or genuine or due to innocence or ignorance of the supplier, or demand raised by a reason of fraud, willful act, purpose to evade the tax. कोई भी डिमांड आप पकड़ोगे ना, ये फैक्टर से डिमांड रेज ही नहीं हो सकता. या तो मैंने गलती से कुछ कर दिया तो डिमांड, या तो मैंने पर्पसली कुछ ऐसा किया कि डिमांड आ गया. So what are the four major criteria where the demand can happen? So in a search and seizure, the officers have reason to believe that there is a suppression, misinformation, evasion, tax, etc. But when we went through search and seizures section above 67 and others, there is a very specific word which we studied was reasons to believe. But when it comes to demand and recovery, the language of the demand and recovery starts where it appears. One is, I have got reason to believe something which is, I believe can be true, cannot be true. Here, it starts with where it appears. That means it is based on something which is already available. So where it appears to the proper officer, this is the basic difference, that any tax has not been paid, tax has been short paid, wrong refunds, or ITC wrongly. So this is a very important note that till today, in GST returns are being filed on self-assessment basis, and on portal itself, refunds of RFDR1 are being made. Even exports or relatives are filed online for ITC on exports of refunds. Then there is a possibility of erroneous refunds. So this is 100% possible. This is also possible. It is also applicable where GST or 3B are filed late, and it means that the tax has not been paid, and hence 132 is applicable. So show cause notice under section 73(1) read with section 73(10). So section 73(1) reads, a proper officer requiring him to show cause notice as why he should not pay the amount specified in the notice, along with interest thereon under section 15 and the penalty leviable under these provisions. So a show cause notice, I think somebody is writing on the slides. If you can, we can tell somebody to avoid it, please. Can you tell somebody to, clear the slide because somebody is writing on the wall?
Bharat bhai.
Yeah.
Viren Pandya. This
Yeah,
closing annotation, Satish Kadam had, Santosh Kadam has explained me last time in our seminar. So you need to, disable the annotation, or alternatively.
I don't have it. The problem is.
Alternatively, sir, you can close this slide and do the slide sharing again. It will go.
Let me just try to close the.
That is the easiest way. No, stop the slide share.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And start it again.
I'll do that. But I request not to do this because it creates, it breaks the link. Okay. When can the Supreme, when can the show? So when can a show cause be, what is the time limit for issuing a show cause? The time limit for issuing show cause is 3 months prior to the end of 3 financial years from the due date of filing of annual return for the financial year for which the demand is found payable. So take an example, last date for filing annual return for 2019-20 was 30 March 2021. So the time limit for issuing show cause will be 31st December 2023. So 3 months before the due date on which 3 years from the 3 financial years. So officer the statement of calculation in form GSTR, DRC. So friends, can show cause notice be avoided? So what it states is a show cause notice can be avoided if the person pays the amount of tax along the 50 of the Act on the basis of his own assessment and inform the officer in writing of such payment, then show cause can be avoided. The officer on receipt of such intimation shall not serve notice under 73(1) as discussed before. So right now, if you all must be doing many cases of audit, GST audit is going on. So in that case, when before issuing a show cause notice, we arrive at some calculations and some figures, and we pay the amount and we share it with them. So when they issue a show cause notice, they say it has already been paid. So where a proper officer is of the opinion that the amount paid under 73(5) falls short of the actual, he shall proceed to issue notice as provided under section 1 for the balance amount. So before this issued, we arrived that this is an error and we ought to have paid this, and we paid. Now, if that is found okay, then it is fine. But if that is not found okay, and there is some discrepancy in it, the officer can issue a show cause notice for the balance difference only. So it is restricted to that amount only which is deposited. If calculation differ and the liability is more than deposited, then the show cause be issued under 73(7). However, it helps to avoid penalty under 50 after the show cause notice is issued. It provides deposit dues as mentioned in the show cause notice within 30 days of the notice, then penalty can be avoided and all the proceedings shall be treated as concluded under the said notice by issuing form DRC 05 as per rule 142(3) by the officer. So the officer has the power to even cancel the show cause notice. Whatever is the amount payable and whatever is the liability which has to be generated has been taken care of. So what happens in case the supplier does not pay the above within 30 days and gives a representation to the proper officer, then under 73(9), he has to pay 10% penalty along with tax and interest, or 10,000, whichever is higher. The officer will issue order under 73(9), read with rule 142(4), and issue DRC 06 manually and upload DRC 07. Now, if the under 73(10), the proper officer shall issue the order under subsection 9 within years from the due date of furnishing of, which we verified earlier, to which the tax not paid or short paid or input tax wrongly availed or utilized relates to, or within 3 years of the erroneous refund. So, notwithstanding anything in section 6 and 8, a penalty will be payable where any amount of self-assessed tax or collected has not been paid within a period of 30 days. So whenever there is a notice, we better see to it that we clear within 30 days. Otherwise, there is a scope for charging additional penalty. So section 74. So section 74 deals with demand raised due to or any willful misstatement or suppression of facts to evade tax. This is a specific 74 deals with only frauds, suppression of facts, willful misstatements with an intent to evade tax. And the time limit for issuing of such show cause notice under 74 is 6 months prior to the end of 5 years from the due date of filing of annual. So annual return filing due date is very important for calculating all the timelines. So for 1920, the period was 31st March 2021. So up till 2026, you have timeline to issue a show cause notice for any of these frauds, misstatements, suppression of acts, or refunds. So how to avoid show cause notice and conclude the proceeding and further proceedings? So we got two methods. If I do a self-assessment under 74(5) and I pay the tax on my own assessment, then I have to pay the tax, interest under section 50, and 15% penalty of such tax. But I have done a self-assessment, but there is a gap and it is short in demand. Then he will issue a show cause notice, and after issuing a show cause notice, if we deposit the amount within 30 days of notice, the penalty will be 25%. Before show cause, I am paying a penalty of 15%. If he issues a show cause, and if I pay within 30 days of issuing a show cause, the penalty is 25%. And the proceedings will be treated as concluded under 74(8). However, when an opportunity is given for short payment, the officer, after considering the representation, if any, made by the person chargeable to tax, determines the amount of tax, interest, and penalty due and issues order under 74(9), then rest all remains the same. The penalty goes up to 50%. So it is very important to note at every stage, the penalty keeps on going. 10%, 15%, 15%, 25%, 50%. So the more you argue, the more you take time, the more you don't decide on the thing, your penalty goes on going up. So the language of the act suggests that if within 30 days of the show cause notice, penalty with tax and interest is not paid, then order within 5 years from the date of annual return shall be passed along with 50% penalty, and all proceedings shall be treated deemed concluded. Officer को time barring है. If you don't finish it within time, then on the time barring date, he will charge you 50% penalty and close it. So now let us understand section where 122(1), which are the 21 items which attract penal provisions. So I have divided into three slides. So I will read each and every one with a explanation and rider on it. So supplies without invoice or false invoice or fake invoice, I think so we all are aware what we are talking of. Issues an invoice without supply, that also I think so we are aware that there is no actual service or goods supplied or nothing is done, but only invoice is done, which we covered in the earlier slides. Collects the amount of tax but doesn't pay within 3 months. आपने टैक्स कलेक्ट किया 3 महीने में नहीं दिया तो भी ये penal provision offense, it will be an offense under 122(1). You wrongly collect tax, excess or less, which is contravention to the act, but not paid within 3 months. Fail to deduct or deducts less TDS. So there are TDS provisions which are applicable to certain persons. If you fail to deduct or fail to collect, then to this provisions are attracted. ITC is availed without proper supply. So again the same thing, you have procured bills, but there is no actual supply. Fraudulently obtained refund, fraud refunds is covered here. Takes or distributes input tax credit. This is specifically in contravention to section 20, that is for input service distributor. Input service distributor, what should have not been distributed, distributes that amongst his branches. So it is covered here. fabricates or falsifies accounts and substitutes financial records and produces fake accounts with a view to evade tax, liable to be registered but does not get himself registered, furnishes false information at the time of registration, particulars either at the time of applying for registration or subsequently when amending it, obstructs or prevents any officers to discharge his or her duty, transport goods without cover documents, so that e-way bill, the e-way bill is a mandatory document, or a challan is a mandatory document, or an invoice is a mandatory document, which you are not carrying but I'm transporting. Suppresses turnover leading to evasion of tax, fails to keep, maintain or retain books of accounts or documents, fails to furnish documents called for by the officers. Officer ने आपसे कुछ मांगा और आपने नहीं दिया, so that will be fails to furnish the documents. Supplies, transports goods which are to be confiscation. So there is the order which has come out कि आपका goods confiscate करना है, आपको मालूम है, लेकिन आपने before the order reaches you try to supply, transport or do anything. Issuing invoice by using others' GST number, tampering or destroying evidence or documents or any material evidence establishing a GST liability, and dispose of or tamper good seized or confiscated. So what is the penalty for doing all this? So a person shall be liable to a penalty of 10,000 rupees or an amount equivalent to tax evaded or tax not deducted under section 51, or short deducted or deducted but not paid. Don't go into wordings. We have highlighted certain things. Remain that the penalty is 10,000 or the tax which ought to have been collected, whichever is higher. Are we clear on this? So any registered person who supplies any goods or service on which tax has not been paid or short paid or erroneously refunded, where input credit has been wrongly utilized, if proved it was due to error. So what do we mean by that? If it is proved it is due to an error or unintentional, innocence mistake, penalty is 10,000 or 10% of the liability. If it is willful default, then the penalty is 10,000 or equivalent to the tax amount, whichever is higher. So very important to have a note whether it is willful or it is not willful. Section 122(3). Any person aids or abates any offense. So what do you mean by aid and abet? ये बहुत important है, because as per the amendments, a chartered accountant filing return or a chartered accountant suggesting something, or you sending a mail to the client on a query where you are guiding him something and it can lead to an aided abatement. I'll read the definition. Aiding and abatement means to assist someone in committing or encourage someone to commit a crime. Generally, an aider and an abater are criminally liable to the same extent as the principal. So, an aid and abet means counsel and procure. Be very clear to what we are informing and telling our clients, because whatever we say, and if we are saying something which is out of the scope and purview, we ourselves will be treated as aiding or abetting the person who will be taken to task in the future. So 122(3) is activated when a person acquires a possession of goods to be confiscated, receive or is in any way concerned with the supply of service which is contravening the law, fails to appear before the officer, fails to issue invoice, and the penalty is 25,000. So let us see what are the other penalties. Section 123 says non-filing of return. The supplier is liable to pay 100 rupees per day, maximum 5,000. 124 says willful provision provides wrongful information. Person who gives information, 10,000 plus 100 rupees per day, maximum 25,000. Section 125 states contravention of any act or rule, 25,000 maximum. 126 says any minor breach where tax is less than 5,000, the penalty cannot exceed 25,000. And 127 section says if nothing is covered above, person who is in default, minimum and maximum penalty is not defined, but he will be penalized. So penalty तो लगेगा, कितना क्या मालूम नहीं. So section 129 detention, seizure and release of goods in transit. So where there are cases which cover when the owner accepts his mistake and is ready to pay voluntarily, the penalty is applicable tax plus 100% penalty. In case of exempted goods, 2% of the value of goods or 25,000, whichever is higher. So अगर कुछ भी मिस्टेक हुआ और आपका गुड्स पकड़ा गया तो ये पेनल्टी आपको भरना पड़ेगा. दैट इज व्हाई द ई-वे बिल इज अ ड्रैकोरियन थिंग. एट टाइम्स अगर कुछ भी गलती, छोटा सा भी गलती हो, we'll again discuss. There is a circular which has come in, a notification which is useful. What does 129B state here? That if the owner does not come forward and the tax is paid by the transporter, तो ट्रांसपोर्टर क्या बोलता है, मैं झंझट से छोड़ के भर के निकल जाऊं, मेरा बाकी का माल भी अटका है. So in that case, the transporter will pay applicable tax, 50% penalty, and in case of exempted good, % of the value of goods or 25,000, whichever is higher. Now, if within 7 days of the detention, tax and penalty is not paid, then further action under 130 shall be taken, and in the perishable goods, the time will be reduced. So further action is possible if you don't pay within 7 days. ये सब खत्म करना है, जो भी है वो. So, what is this section 170? When it is, if any person supplies or receives any goods in contravention of any act of the provision of this act or rules with the intent to evade payment of tax, does not account for any goods or on which he is liable to pay tax, supplies any liable to pay tax under this act without applying for registration, contravenes any of the provision of the act or rules made herein with the intent to evade tax, and uses any conveyance as a means of transport for carriage of goods of the provision of this act or rules made under, unless the owner of the conveyance proves that it was so used without the knowledge or connivance of the owner himself, agent, if any, or the person in charge, then all such goods or conveyance to be confiscated and the person will be penalized under 122. So anything you do under this, the penalty as prescribed under 122 applicable and payable. Whenever confiscation is of any goods or conveyance is like, the officer shall give the owner of goods an option to pay in lieu of confiscation such fine as the officer may deem fit. The power is lying with the officer here to what amount can be charge, provided that such fine shall not exceed of the goods confiscated, less tax chargeable thereon, and does not account for liable to pay tax. Provided also that where any such conveyance is used for the carriage of goods or passengers for hire, the owner of the conveyance may have an option to pay, in lieu of confiscation of the conveyance, a fine equal to the tax payable of the goods. So these are the fines and penalties which will be applicable. I'll share this thing. It will be more convenient for you to go read through this. Arrest can be initiated only in the following cases, which we had even seen earlier: supply of goods without invoice, issue of invoice without supply, for the intention to give benefit of ITC, availing ITC of such invoices, and collects an amount and fails to pay to the government beyond 3 months. The same slide we had earlier seen, when is the provision of arrest applicable under offenses under 132. So there are these judgments, very interesting judgments. One is Akhil Krishnan Magoo versus Deputy Director of DGGI, Punjab and Haryana, where they specified, and the judgment is so clear. Otherwise, random arrest would have happened by a plain reading of the section, but they laid down certain rules, which is very, very interesting and very important for us to understand. Power to arrest should not be exercised at the whims and caprices of any officer, or for the sake of recovery or terrorizing any businessman, or create an atmosphere of fear. It should be exercised in exceptional circumstances during investigation, which illustratively may be. Very beautifully the illustrations have been given down. ये चीज रहेगा तो आप arrest करो. This can be very useful in the long run. So person involved in evasion of huge amount of tax, having no permanent place of business, यानी कि आदमी का place of business है किधर भी भाग सकता है. Person not appearing in spite of repeated summons. Habitual offender, and he has prosecuted or convinced or convicted earlier. A person who is likely to flee from the country. Person is originator of fake, where you can establish that he is the person who is the father of fake invoices, or where documentary or otherwise concrete evidence is available, and it is not just a reason to believe. The court also laid down factors and parameters for grant of anticipatory bail. This is a very good judgment. I request everybody to note it down and go through this judgment. It's a landmark judgment where it will be useful for us in the future to fight a case or to take it ahead. There's another judgment here, which is Jayachandra Alois versus 2019, where the power to punish set out under 132 and is triggered only once it is established that the SSC committed an offense. So it is not on a reason to believe. It has to be, the offense has to be, it has to be established that the offense has been committed. Post determination of demand due from the SSC, necessary follow the process of assessment. Offenses set out under these clauses refer to items that constitute matter of assessment and would not form part of the order of assessment, to be passed after process of adjudication is complete. Punishment for offense allegedly can be imposed even prior to such assessment, clearly incorrect. Just because I feel somebody has to be arrested and an arrest is wrong. So you process something. So it says the person is not to be treated as guilty till the time it has been proven that he is guilty. So this also forms a base. But where a person is a habitual offender, you will not get this benefit. The court followed the Delhi judgment of Make My Trip India versus Union of India in 2016, which was confirmed by the Supreme Court in 2019. So these two judgments are very useful for us, to establish and take a stand. There's another judgment here by Vimal Yashwantgiri Goswami versus State of Gujarat, where anticipatory bail was granted. So the court said the power of arrest under 69 are to be exercised with a lot of care and circumspection. Prosecution should normally be launched only and only after the adjudication is completed. A very important point. Don't arrest a person till the time you have completed the adjudication. There must be, in first place, a determination that a person is liable to a penalty. Till that point of time, the entire case proceeds on the basis that there must be apprehended invention. Yes, sir, मेरे को reasons to believe है. Till the time nothing comes concrete, no coercive steps or arrest shall be taken against the writ application. So it's a very, very, very beautifully drafted judgments which you have to see. It is in favor. Till that, this has to be, this provisions has to be authorized on a very responsible basis, even by the department. And that is why these judgments are there. You can even check this Mohammad Yunus case versus state of Rajasthan, that when the case is still under investigation and the quantum of evasion is large, this is against. And also, since the fake invoice has been issued, the bail is rejected. So those were in favor, these are against. Even when the investigation is going on, but it has been established in the fact the quantum is huge and the fake invoices have been issued, which has been identified. So the bail was rejected. In Paridhi Jain versus State, a practicing chartered accountant was in custody under 132(1)(1) offense. Granted on the undertaking provided by the SSC for full cooperation with the investigation agency. So 132(1)(1), a chartered accountant can also be held responsible and taken to task. Nobody is scot-free whenever directly or indirectly a chartered accountant, a practitioner, or any person who is supporting with the intent to evade tax. So please keep this in mind. Let us this takes a few slides on e-way bill. So the use of e-way bill is only for monitoring the movements of goods, and it cannot be used as a base for effectively stating as a support document establish whether the transaction is genuine or not. To take my view is that in case where e-way bills are not there, it does not mean the supply of goods can be challenged by any authority. Stating that there is no supply, कर नहीं सकते हैं, करते हैं वो अलग बात. Because as per section 68, the government may specify the documents that e-way bill has to be a part of this. And when the consignment is intercepted by a proper officer at any place, the person carrying goods should produce the documents and devices. Now, these documents are prescribed and the e-way bill is a must. So wherever the e-way bill is, documents has to be there. So very interesting slide. Most circulars here are issued by center and implemented by the state officers. So e-way bill is the only to provide eyes to the authorities for monitoring the movement of goods only and avoid fraud. It is interesting to deal with the department mindset implementing the e-way bill rules across India. हर एक जगह का अलग अलग है. I was defending a case before the circular came in. There was only mistake in the year of the e-way bill. Instead of 2019, it was written 2018. And the SSC had to pay 28 lakh rupees. That's fine because the material was jammed. 14 lakhs tax, 14 lakhs penalty. Very interesting. The circular came later on, but the goods got stuck at that time. So who can generate an e-way bill? A very simple slide. Any person who causes the movement of goods is required to generate e-way bill. Any person will include a person, including unregistered person, taxable person, or a registered person. Penalties for non-generation of e-way bill. It is 10,000 rupees or amount of tax sought to be evaded, whichever is higher. So moreover, as per section 129(1), where any person transports any goods or stores any goods while they are in transit in contravention to the above provisions, all such goods and conveyances used as means of transport for carrying the said goods and documents relating to such goods and conveyance shall be liable to detention or seizure. So this we had already discussed. Seizure में क्या होता है, कैसा होता है आगे. I'm just connecting it to the e-way bill in this. So important circulars which will help you to deal with this e-way bill is the circular 41. It lays down terms if upon verification of the documents no discrepancy found, the conveyance shall be allowed to move further. ये very important circulars. These circulars you all may note down. It will help you all in the future in case there is any issues which happen with your clients as far as e-way bill is concerned, or goods are subject to seizure or confiscation because of this. So this circular would help you. So this circular, a very important circular, it lays down the e-way bill procedure. It lays down the e-way bill procedure in case of storing of goods in godowns of transporters, and 60 clarifying nature speaks the mistakes about e-way bill which provide relaxation on some points pertaining to penalty and further clarification about mistakes which may have. So this circular was issued in 14th September 2018, and the example which I gave, it was in March 18th. So I suffered this because the circular nobody was ready to understand. So what it says is, penalties under section 129 may not be initiated if there is a spelling mistake in the name of the consignor, but the GST number is correct. There is an error in the PIN code, but the address is correct. Error in the address to the extent that the locality and other details are correct. Error in 1 or 2 digits of the document numbers mentioned in the e-way bill. Error in 4 or 6 digits HSN code, where the first 2 digits are correct and the rate of tax is correct. Error in 1 or 2 digits or character of the vehicle number. So there are certain case laws which will support here. There was one case law in Vikram Solar Private Limited versus Union of India. The court said the petitioner has challenged the seizure order dated December 2017, passed under 129(1) of the UPSG. Show cause was issued in this regard under 129(3). Goods have been carrying from West Bengal to Ghaziabad. The ground for seizure is that e-way bill had not been downloaded. It has come to the record that before seizure, there was some problem in downloading the e-way bill. The High Court directed to release the vehicles subject to deposit of bank guarantee to the value. Now see, he has the e-way bill in a digital format. It was not downloaded at that time when he started. And this problem had happened in 2017 when the e-way bill had just started. But there are these case laws. There is a similar case law with Garuda Timber Traders versus Commissioner of GST Department, Kerala. There is another case which will be interesting. VSL Alloys India Limited versus State of UP and another state. The detention was made on the ground that Part B of the e-way bill was incomplete. The contention of the petitioner before the authority below was that there was no intention on the part of the petitioner to evade payment of tax. During the course of intrastate state, the High Court held that no ill intention at the hands of the petitioner for the petitioner was supposed to fill up Part B, giving all the details including vehicle number before the goods are loaded, which is meant for transportation to the same to its destination. In the present case, that is in this case of VSNL, all the documents were accompanied with the goods. Details were duly mentioned. Merely non-mentioning of the vehicle number cannot be a ground for seizure of goods. The High Court held that the seizure order did not sustain the directed to release the goods. Now imagine silly things, and there are many members who vigorously practice into GST. We get all these queries all the time, and we are really baffled by it. Now recently the things have been improved, but there is one more case, Umia Enterprise versus Assistant State Tax, where instead of charging IGST, CGST and SGST were charged on the bill. I'm talking about this case was before. Now there is no error. There is nothing error done, but when the person caught the vehicle, they made it sound that this is evasion of tax and seized the vehicle. The court held and gave an option to release it on a simple bond. So friends, these are the cases which we will come on a day-to-day life. One thing is very clear, that search, seizure and arrest are provisions which the department should not be using it more valiantly, but don't be surprised when the times to come, these provisions are going to be used very badly, because the collection, the way we are setting up new benchmark, 1,41,000 crore rupees collection in the month of April, in the month of April, and the moment now you don't meet that 141. So these are the sections which the department is surely going to use to increase their revenue collection. And I feel that this would be one line of practice where we all will be involved a lot in the future months to come. So once the corona is cleared and things start to normalize, be rest assured, this is what we are going to face with. And friends, thank you very much for your patient hearing. And we can take some questions if required. So I think this this part of the presentation of and inspection is more of introspecting and learning and keeping it at the back of your mind. So this will help you in the future when this actually happens in a practical way with your clients and you have to face these things. So in case still there are some questions, we can be open. But I am foreseeing more and more restrictions coming in and more things getting evolved and changed. And we will be having more involvement with the officers in the later time to come. So thank you very much, and thanks to the chairman and all the members of Thane branch for giving me an opportunity to share my views on this topic today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat Bhai. And I will be requesting one thing, that your presentation, if you can mail it to us.
I will share it.
So that we have gone Facebook Live. The people who have missed some part because of network issue and all can go into WI Thane branch Facebook page and see the entire recording. And if any question, then let me take up if there is any question. Otherwise, we'll proceed for formal vote of thanks. Question? Any question, member?
Sir, there is a question in the chat box from Jinal.
What is the question? You can read it out.
Yeah, sure. She needs example of penalty under section 125.
Just a minute.
Sir, can you please provide example of section 125 penalty? This is the question.
Yeah, give me a minute.
Yeah.
See, penalty under 125, it is what they have done. If you see, if I read the section 125, it says any person who any provision of this act or any rules made therein under, for which penalty is separately provided for the act, he shall be liable to a penalty which may not exceed 25,000 rupees. ये कैसा है ना, जिधर भी कवर नहीं हुआ वो इधर कवर हो गया. So मैं कोई एग्जांपल ऐसा दे नहीं सकता. This has to be created. क्योंकि either I will try to fit into one of the sections, maximum will fit under 122. Be rest assured, Jinal. Maximum will be fitting under 122. But अगर किसी ने challenge किया, ये इसके लिए बना है. Somebody challenges the future कि बहुत these are the 21 points जहाँ पे मैं आता ही नहीं है. तो ठीक है भाई, हम आपको 125 में डाल देंगे. 125 is a blanket section. जो किधर नहीं दिखता है वो उधर आ जाए.
Okay.
So there cannot be, I cannot create an example, because what I understand today, nearly any and every will fall under 122 जो उन्होंने दिया है. See, because anything you do under GST, if you read those 21 points, which I will share in the presentation, the main contention is it stretches around only three things. One, intention of evading tax. Second, fraudulent way of taking set off. Knowingly doing anything which is wrong, and encouraging bogus transactions. सो जीएसटी में ये 4 चीज अगर तुमने अच्छी तरह कर दिया तो पेनल्टी लगने वाला है। जैसे अभी उसमें ये भी डाल दिया 122 में कि इफ आई एम स्टॉपिंग एन ऑफिसर फ्रॉम डूइंग हिज ड्यूटी, तो वो इट इज सो वाइड, बट दे हैव टेकन अप दैट इन केस एनीथिंग इट विल कम हियर। इट इज जस्ट लाइक दैट 133 वेयर इट सेज द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया एंड द वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया आर exempt for appearing. The point, not that the president and the vice president are doing a business where they will be, be called as a summons, but summons भी उनको exemption देके रखा है. So it's a blanket and it's an open section which कि जो किधर cover नहीं होता वो इधर आ जाता है. This is normally in all the acts and all the laws.
Thank you, Bharat bhai. I can. I'm very pleased. Today we have average attendance of 170 and peak attendance of 180 plus. Yes, Rajnish.
Yeah, couple of more questions, sir. So,
Sure.
Manilal sir has raised a question. Does other things include mobile phones and tablets under section 71?
Yes, anything which has got information.
Okay, and
anything which has got information by which a person can arrive at a tax calculation. So when I say chits, papers, documents, anything means anything.
Yes.
Anything which will help the officer to evaluate and calculate the tax evaded or tax paid. So it's everything.
Thank you, sir. And third question from Lakshmikant Kabra, sir. Are bogus billing and billing without delivery of goods different?
Lakshmi, I had given 2 examples before. If you see my slide number 5, I'll share the slide. But it says what is a bogus billing? Bogus billing is I have just issued an invoice to somebody without actually doing goods. And there is another type of billing कि भाई मैंने बेचा एक को है और बिल भी दूसरे को की है. That is another part of bogus billing wherein there is a sales done. So I have done the sales, but मैंने sales लक्ष्मी को की है लेकिन बिल शायद विजय को की है. You get the point? एक वो ट्रांजेक्शन हो गया. एक दूसरा ट्रांजेक्शन ऐसा होता है कि भाई मैंने सिर्फ लक्ष्मी को बिल ही दिया है जबकि एक्चुअल सेल्स सर्विस किया ही नहीं है. Sales or service, I have not done a supply. See, there are 2 major aspects. I have done a supply transaction with Vijay, but I have billed to Lakshmi. That is one type. There is another type. I have actually supplied with either of them, but I have given just a bill. So that is why the bogus billing and bogus billing without a supply is a difference. So both the transactions are covered separately.
That's very nicely explained, sir. Thank you, sir.
If there is no question further, then I request immediate past chairman and treasurer Sri Suren Thakur Desai to propose formal vote of thanks. Suren bhai, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Shiv Bhagavan. Many times I have observed that because of intentional or unintentional mistake by our clients, we chartered accountants are surprised. And we are exposed to such inspection, search and seizure and all other provisions under the Act. And many times as we have not come across, we are unaware about these provisions. But today's speaker, Bharatji Sachdev, has simplified section 67 to 72 regarding inspection, search and seizure under GST, 73 to 84 demand and recovery, 122 to 138 offences and penalties. By his various explanations, highlighting important circulars along with the landmark judgments and other case laws. Thank you, Bharat Sachdev ji. Thank you for enlightening us on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I also thank all the participants giving us such an overwhelming response. And definitely at the end, I thank all the committee members and especially Shiv Bhagavan Asava to arrange this vocal for local speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all. And announcement, our tomorrow's session is again very good seminar, role of chartered accountant in SME finance, requesting everybody be on time, join, please join tomorrow's seminar at 4:30 to 5 p.m. will be the registration time, and 5 to 7 p.m. will be the session time, seminar session time. Thank you, everyone.
Shivagavan, one small request. I have observed that somebody was playing some mischief in between. We could stop him immediately, but one more suggestion is there. While sharing the screen, we have two options. One participant can share at a time, and multiple participants can share simultaneously. We have chosen the option multiple participants. From tomorrow onwards, ask your co-host to select one participant can share at a time. So nobody will be in a position to play the mischief.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Now I formally announce end of today's session. Thank
Yes,
you, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.